crafters, it's your girl Rachel from Never Not Crafts, and this tutorial will cover the knit stitch. It is also abbreviated as K. Today I'll be working with a weight 4 yarn and a size 11 knitting needles. Let's get started. In our previous video we covered the slip knot and the cast on. Let's quickly go over that again. If you would like to see the full video, there will be a link in the description below, or click on the little eye icon. So the first thing we want to do is we want to fold our yarn in half. So we have about a foot of yarn that is folded in half. Then we're going to take the yarn that is the end and fold it in front of the yarn that's attached to the ball. And you're going to take the yarn and grab it and pull it tight. Then you're going to put the yarn onto the needle and then make sure that it is fitted onto the needle like that. Okay, so then we are going to hold onto our yarn like so. We're going to insert over and through. Okay, let's do that again. Insert, around, and through. Insert, around, and through. We're going to do that a total of 10 times, making it so that there's 11 loops, because remember this is a slip knot and we don't count this slip knot as a stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now we have 11 loops on our working needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And remember, this is the slip knot, so we're technically not going to count that as one of our stitches. Okay? So I'm going to hold this working yarn into my left hand. Okay? Then I'm going to grab my other needle in my right hand. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to take a look at my first loop. Okay? As you can see, there are two sides of it, the back side and the front side. We're going to be entering the front side from the bottom up, and we're going to cross it so it goes behind the needle. Okay? Let's take a look at that again. So we have our loop, we have the front part and the back part. Okay? We're just going to be going through the front loop, so we're going to keep our back loop lower than the top loop. And you're going to enter it like this. Okay? Now this is what it looks like on the back. Oops, let me turn this around. Okay? That's what it looks like from the back. So you see how that back loop, it's not even being touched? My needle is laying right above it. Okay? Oops. So then I'm going to grab my yarn that's attached to my ball. And I'm going to yarn over my back needle so that my yarn is right in between my back needle and my front needle. Then I'm going to move my needle from the back of to the front of the needle. And then I'm going to pull it off. Now if it looks super stretched out like this, that's okay. It's your first stitch on the needle and it tends to be a little bit looser. As you get used to knitting and practice, then that will get tighter and more and less big. So again, we're going to go through the front loop only, from the bottom to the top, from the front to the back. We're going to yarn over. We're going to slide the needle from the back to the front, catching this loop that we just made. So we just yarned over. You see how there's that loop right there? We are going to keep that on our needle. Keep it on our needle, keep it on our needle, keep it on our needle. We move it to the front, and then we just slide it off. Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna go from the front, underneath, to the back, on top, yarn over. Keep that yarn there, keep that yarn there, keep that yarn there. Moving from your needle from the back to the front. And you just slide it off. Okay? Let's keep going. So we're entering the front part of our loop. From the back to the front, from the front to the back. Yarn over. Slide your needle. There you go. From the front to the back, slide it in there, yarn over. You're going to slide your needle from the back to the front and pull off. Insert, yarn over from the back to the front of your needle. Slide in. Remember, we're not catching that back yarn. The back yarn is underneath your needle. Yarn over. Keep that yarn on that needle and then pull off. Insert, yarn over. Keep that yarn on the needle, keep the yarn on the needle, and then off. Insert, yarn over from the back to the front. So now we're at our last 2 loops, okay? Remember that this is the slip knot and this is our actual stitch. So this one's going to be a little different, and this is the only time that we're actually going to be doing this, where we're going to take both loops and we're going to enter it in the front. Okay? So the back loops are staying down, the front loops are staying up like this. You're going to enter both loops just like we have been doing before. Yarn over, keep that yarn on that needle, and then slide it off. You now have 10 loops on your needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're going to go on to row 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my yarn over. So now my working yarn is again back in my left hand. My empty needle is on my right. And we're just going to repeat the same process, okay? We're going to enter through the front, grab our yarn, loop over, pull off, insert, yarn over, around the needle, off. So we're just going to do that, back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth. And that is the knit stitch.
You did the knit stitch. Congrats! Before we go, I want to briefly talk about tension. Tension is how tight or loose your stitches are in your work. To have good tension when you are knitting, you need to make sure you are not looping over your needle too tight. This will make it very challenging to get your needle into your stitches in the next row. You also don't want to make them too loose. This will cause your stitches to droop in your work. I recommend you practice. You will find good tension for you and your rows will be beautifully even.
So what I mean by that is that when you complete your work, you will get rows like this. These are your bumps. And your bumps will either be in a perfect line or they will go up and down and zigzag a little bit. Now, if you have good tension, they will be in a nice even row. If you don't, then they'll go up and down a little bit. Your ends might be a little wonky and other issues can arise like that. So it's just something to look out for when you're knitting. Another tip and trick that I have for when you are knitting is how to hold your needles when you are actually going through the process of knitting. So when I put in my needle, my right hand needle into my yarn, I actually hold onto my needle with my pointer finger and my thumb. So it holds the two together, and then when I yarn over and pull through, I'm able to do that with ease. Okay, so again, my pointer finger goes in the back, my thumb gets on the needle, and I allow my room for my yarn to still move, and I pull through. So just another trick when you're knitting. Thank you for watching our video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to get our latest content. If there is a tutorial you would like to see, let me know in the comments. See you in the next video.